What are some of the ways that we can empower our people with information since they're not getting it from the devices that are handing out information? How do we get the information to our people so that they can make informed decisions about not just the national election, which is whatever, because none our lives don't change drastically no matter who's in office as people of color, because they've been fucking us forever, right? So how do we change our local habitat? Because that's the superintendent, the sheriff, like those people who are affecting us daily. How do we get information to them in ways that they can digest it and they can process and they can use it?
Yeah, that's a hard question. To your point about news, I remember when I was traveling and I remember just turning the news on. I don't remember. I think I was in Spain. And I was listening to the news and they were like, 10 Thai boys are stuck in a cave, right? And that was it. And then it was like the British Prime Minister is introducing a bill, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, that's just how they do news. Not to say their news isn't without flaws, but I was like, well, where's the part where they bring in 10 people and they come tell all their opinions and that's a segment? Like, where's that part? They just, it would just be someone like, the Prime Minister will introduce the bill to shut down the government. In other news, it's like they just give you the news.
Yes.
We don't do that here. And I say that as someone who used to be a contributor. And there was one day I looked up, I was like, I'm really just on here giving my opinion. Like, why should anybody, the only people who are going to follow or believe me are the people who already think ideologically like me. So it's like, how do we get to a stripped down, just the facts? For the people in my circle, it's what I do, particularly with my parents, friends, is try to eliminate the bullshit. So going in their email accounts, unsubscribing them from trash, showing them like, this is a fake ad on Facebook, mom. Like, this is how you recognize, like giving them the tools to do it themselves, because I can't, at the end of the day, be responsible for everything they consume. But I think it's trying to give people the tools to try to do some of that analysis themselves.
What I do, I'd like to just get down into the truth of what things really are. We have to remember something that happened a couple years ago. Fox News changed its name to Fox News and Entertainment. Mm-hmm. They're literally telling you what they are in their title, their entertainment. And we have to also know that for Fox News to be so anti-Muslim, the second biggest investor is a Muslim. For them to be so anti-Obama, they invested the second most to his campaign. So it's all a game. It's all a sham.
Yeah.
We have to know that we're in a game. And the information, we live in a type of the society that a bunch of stuff is thrown against the wall. And our media, as evidenced by Operation Mockingbird, you can look all this stuff up, it is propaganda. And the most intelligent form of propaganda is controlled opposition. So when you see the fight between CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, it's all controlling the conversation to a small, very narrow, limited point of view that reaffirms what the listener already thinks.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that and know that the information is now on YouTube. The information is with Aida Rodriguez. The information is on the Young Turks. The information is with the Black Channel. The information is with people like me, and it's people out there. We have to know as people. We have to go back to the grapevine. We've gotten used to just being consumers to where we're told what to think, how to think. We have to know that we can't allow anyone to tell us what goes on inside this head. We have to know for ourselves. We have to research for ourselves. We have to see for ourselves. Put your news up that you're reading against other news sources. Yes. Read international news. Know that if there's a lot of attention being placed at one thing, take a step back and see the whole picture. And these are all things that we have to take upon ourselves. I think one thing this coronavirus is teaching us overall with everything is every person out there listening has to go back to trusting themselves. Everyone has to go back to discerning things for themselves, because we don't know what's out there. But your gut knows. When you listen to truth, that shit vibrates in your stomach like a punch to the gut. You know what you hear when it's real. So I think that's the biggest thing. We have to get back to having trust in ourselves and trusting one another, because our own best friend to tell us something that's real and we won't believe it until the news we know be lying say it. So we gotta rethink this whole thing.